Hey, what's going on, Megan? How you doing today?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing excellent. To be honest with you, man, I'm kind of shocked to even have you on my show. I appreciate it so much. I
Well, it's
appreciate
an
it so much.
honor. I'm humbled and honored that you're having me.
Thank you. Of course, like I was telling you before, behind the scenes, that I put something together special for you today. I didn't tell you exactly what I was going to do, but I think the person that you are, what you've done for me, that I should have put some homework to it, and I did it. So I want to like wrap everything up in one. So I didn't want to drag this all on for 2 or 3 hours because you got so much to offer, so much to say. You've been through a lot of stuff in your life. So with that being said, we just might as well get started. Are you cool with that?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go with this right here, right quick, right? I'm gonna play this video. After I play these videos, like I said, I got these all in like categories. And so when I play this first video, I'm gonna let it play out, and then you can expound on it and tell me what your thought about it, and when
Okay,
you're, you know what I mean? Okay.
let's do
So
it.
hey guys, you guys listening? Here we go. It's gonna be dope. My first podcast doing this, so I hope you guys like it. Here it is. Let's go. All right. Yo, it's gonna stop. All right. Here we go. What about that? What's going on with that? That's so. I mean, everybody's seen it. What's going on?
Yeah,
It said meth in there, right?
yeah.
What's going on?
So I was a homeless meth addict at one point in my life. I actually started meth when I was 16 years old. So as a child, I had a lot of abuse growing up, both mentally, physically, sexually. And I just wanted to escape, really. I started drugs as a way to escape. I wanted to feel anything but the way I was feeling in the moments of my life. I remember I painted my room right before I started drugs. I remember I painted my entire room black. Like if that wasn't a cry for help to my parents, right? I painted my walls black. I did like my furniture black. I dyed my hair black. I was just like in a very dark time in my life. And my parents ignored it. My mom just kind of thought it was like something teenagers do, I guess. And
Oh, wow.
during that same time, so my parents were divorced and my mom got remarried to my stepdad, which was where the abuse was taking place. And at that same time, right around that time, my dad told me he was gay. And then he told me he had AIDS. And then I was dealing with all this abuse. So, like, my childhood was like extremely
And what
chaotic.
what age was this at?
So my dad told me he was gay when I was 12. He told me he had AIDS when I was 14. And the abuse was going on from about the age of 11 all the way through that, right? And so at 16, I was introduced to meth. And the first time I was hooked the moment I used it. It was one of those things where it's like I used it and I immediately, it was an escape for me and immediately addicted. It escalated very fast. Like I went from snorting it to smoking it to pretty soon after that slamming it. Ended up
What's slam?
homeless.
What is slamming? This is straight raw dog. What is slamming for people that just don't know
Yeah, oh
about
yeah,
you? What
yeah.
is slamming? What is slamming?
I
Can
was
you,
using needles.
needles? Okay.
Yep.
Needles.
Yeah. And so then that ended me up homeless. By the time I was 18, I was homeless, living on the streets. I had moved from Oregon to Seattle. I was just kind of running and gunning. I was selling it. I was cooking it. I was, that was my life. And I had it was just, I mean, there was times that I was put in crazy situations, like guns held to my head. I remember I was kidnapped by this biker gang because they thought I stole their dope, and they took
Yeah.
me in this car and they took me to this house and like got me completely naked and had guns to my head, like some crazy shit that
Oh.
I dealt with. I almost overdosed multiple times to the point where I was like doing the fish flopping on the floor,
Oh.
so really bad. Like I always tell people, like if you were to look up the word junkie in the dictionary during that time, my picture would have been right there.
Wow.
And I remember points during that I really just wanted to die. And I was like, I remember saying to myself, like, I guess this is just my life. I guess like I am just destined to be a drug addict for the rest of my life. And I had just spent so I got a couple felonies. They were my running. When I was 18, I got a felony, and then I got another felony when I was almost 21. And I spent my 21st birthday in jail, actually. And when I got out, I went right back to dope for a little bit. And then I had basically couch surfed everywhere. I didn't have a car to sleep in anywhere. I was at this, when you're homeless using drugs, you can always like find a couch to sleep in or a car to sleep in. Well, at this point, like the boyfriend that I was dating at the time, he had the car, he was in prison. Everyone was like, I had nowhere else to go. And I remember I was in, and this is the point where I decided I was going to live and not die, is I was in a gas station bathroom. I had my last bag of dope and I was in there for probably 5 hours trying to hit a vein. I had all these needles that were broken, coagulated with blood. I had blood dripping up and down my arms. I had track marks everywhere. I was like 80 pounds. I had, the meth pock marks all over your face, that. And I looked in the bathroom mirror. And I think God whispered to me at that moment. I was literally like, I looked in the mirror and I remember seeing. So when I was a little kid, I had all these big dreams, all these big goals, all these big aspirations. Like I was the kid that was like going to save the world. I wanted to be an actress. I had all these like visions for myself when I was a kid. And I was in this gas station bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I swear to God, that little girl was looking right back at me. And
Yes.
God whispered in my ear and said, "You have more work to do. Like, this is not you. You have people to save." And I had no idea what that meant. And I just was like, God, I don't want this anymore. Like, I have got to do something. And so I called my mom. She was 3 hours away. And I was like, I want to get clean. Now, I had said that a lot of times, right? My mom had let me back into her house multiple times where I'm like, I'm going to get clean. And I would go and I'd sleep it off for a week and I was back on the streets, you know? My dad at this point had basically disowned me. He was not going to let me in. And my mom said, "Well, how do I know you really mean it this time?" I'm like, "Mom, I swear, God whispered in my ear, like, this is it. Like, please just come pick me up." And so she did. She drove 3 hours. She came pick me up. This is right before Christmas, after my 21st birthday. And I went home for Christmas, slept it off. And that was when I got clean. That was the time that I said, like, I'm done. I'm going to get clean. I'm going to do this. And, obviously the road after recovery isn't always butterflies and rainbows. There was a lot of even trauma after that. I ended up in a domestic violence marriage and when I was almost killed by my husband at the time, who went back on drugs. And so, yeah.
Did you end up using drugs again during that domestic violence?
No, but I was living with someone who did, and it was really, really hard.
You had it really hard not to use, right? When he was doing it,
really
right?
hard.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know, I've been following you for a long time now and talking to you. And when you said something to me about being in the bathroom, right? And you look in the mirror, I think, me personally, I think that was your start manifestation. When you told yourself in that mirror, like at that age, like you probably didn't know. I think that was the start. People that's just tuning in right now, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. But I think you just spoke yourself into manifestation that same day.
I totally think so too.
Yeah, because it's like when you're telling me, I'm like, she knows she's manifested. Like she said, "Yo, I'm done."
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So yeah, man. So that's great. I'm glad you got out of that. So like I said, man, ready to move on. You want to move on to the next category?
Let's do it.
Categories. Good. That was great. All right, the next category it's called anxiety, right? It's called anxiety. All right, cool. That was dope. We pretty much said what you had to say, but what came to your mind that day to even bring that content up? Like what happened?
I used to be someone who, after my addiction, anxiety was like really, really bad for me. And I think that's probably a normal thing as you get into recovery. You have all these old demons and all these old wounds that are still like sitting there, because I started using when I was 16, right? So like I was stunted emotionally from that point. And so then when I got clean, like this anxiety that I had back in the day before I did all this inner work was insane. Like it was debilitating. Like I was the kind of person that like, if my friend didn't text me back, sure enough, they like hated me or whatever. If my kid didn't text me back, they were definitely dead in a ditch. Like I had cancer every other week. Like my anxiety was bad. So then I went on this crazy healing journey that started about 10 years ago. Spiritual journey, manifestation. That's when I got into all this really. And I healed my anxiety with meditation. Actually, I got really into meditation and I completely cured my anxiety. And I used to have to take Xanax to get on a plane, Xanax to sleep. So cured my anxiety through meditation, no more Xanax. And so now it's having the discernment. It's all about discernment, right? In your life. And that's with anything. And so now it's this whole like, because I was someone who had anxiety so bad that sometimes it's hard for me to have that discernment between, is this my anxiety rearing its other ugly head, or is it actually my intuition telling me, hey, giving me a message like, hey, this is something that you're not meant to be doing. And I think that's true for anyone, even if you're not someone who used to struggle with anxiety or don't really have a lot of anxiety. When you're having anxiety, pause and listen. Like, is this actually anxiety about fear, or is this actually my intuition saying like, this isn't your path, this isn't the right thing for you, right? Because I think we get offered opportunities, especially when we're putting ourselves out there online, you know, and you're going to discover this the more you put yourself out there online. There's going to be opportunities that are presented to you, and some of them sound really juicy.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them
Yes,
sound
yes.
really juicy. And this is an opportunity that was really juicy. It was a celebrity creating a company. She wanted me to be this co-creator, all this stuff. It was like, ooh, this sounds like it's a great opportunity. And the minute I got in, it was like my anxiety was like, oh my gosh, I woke up with just like this crazy anxiety. Creating the course, even I create courses for a living. This is what I do. And I create them like they flow out of me. For some reason, when I was creating this course, it was like horrible. It was like so much anxiety. And it was like I was forcing creating this course. And instead of listening and being like, I think my intuition's trying to tell me something, I just continued to force and force and force until finally it just like the whole thing blew up in my face. The company kind of crumbled. And I'm like, oh, it's because I wasn't actually supposed to be doing this.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Awesome, man. We're on a roll right now. This is great. This is great. This is great. I'm actually proud of myself for this right now.
This is amazing.
All right, you ready for the next? You ready for the next category?
Let's
All right,
do it.
we got three more categories.
Okay.
Listen, because I pay attention to you a lot, and like you'll know after this. And I saved the best one for last.
Okay, cool.
And I hope after this is all over, you tell that you go see tell that person that.
Okay.
It was. I know you a lot. I know you a lot from afar. So here we go.
Right.
All right, let's go. This one's called leverage, right? Boom. Oh, you know what? No, it's not. It's not gonna be called leverage. This is called money manifestation.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Boom. Money manifestation. All right, cool. All right, explain that. About the money manifestation.
So money manifestation is my jam. So I'm really good at it. I'm really good at manifesting money. And I love helping people tap into their power and realize that abundance is your birthright. You are meant to be rich and wealthy. And people have this like these crazy rules about money and these crazy concepts about money, and that like money is evil and I'm not supposed to want a lot of money because that makes me greedy. And that's literally society programming that into us from the time that we were born. And we have all these old money wounds. Most of us have so many money wounds. I had a ton of money wounds that I needed to heal. I did not grow up rich. I grew up with my mom was single for a lot of years, worked a few jobs before she married my stepdad. We never had enough. When I was 12 years old, I was in gymnastics, which was my love and my passion. And she came in my room and said, you have to quit gymnastics. I can't afford it. And there was just all this like, we just didn't have a lot of money. And so I had a lot of old money stories that were not serving me. And so when I became an adult, before I started this work, I actually was I went to school after I got clean. I went to college. I got my master's degree. I got a master's degree in psychology, and I was a psychologist. And I was broke. I was freaking broke after paying $100,000 for my freaking degree. And I was like $30,000 in credit card debt. I was always just like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I would put Christmas on a credit card, just pay it off before Christmas to do it all over again. And I was like, why can I not figure this money thing out? So when I got into entrepreneurship 10 years ago, I was like, I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. Like, I am destined to be wealthy, but I could not figure it out until I started learning that money, the problem with people wanting all this money is that their subconscious beliefs are incongruent with actually their desires and their goals. And if you're really not good at money, you probably have a lot of feelings of unworthiness and unsafety. Now, those were my two big ones growing up because I always felt not good enough based on what I went through. And I was put in very unsafe situations. So I had this inner core feeling of not being safe. So until I healed my worthiness and and my safety, I was never going to manifest money. I was never going to be good at money. So it's really about money is really about healing yourself, really about healing those old wounds. And that's what I love to help people do, is heal those old wounds so they literally become unstoppable and they can go out there and manifest whatever amount of money they want. But first, you have to heal the wounds, and you also have to start feeling wealthy and rich from within, regardless of what your external world says. So before the money actually shows up in your life, you have to feel wealthy and grateful and abundant in all areas of your life. You have to be acting abundant. You have to be giving, you have to give the money even if you don't have a lot of money. So I started every Wednesday, I started doing something called Wealth Wednesday. Now, this is before I was making a lot of money. And I would go out into the community. I would go out into the community and I would give money in some way, a monetary exchange, to a stranger. So I would put money in diaper boxes, money in formula. I would pay for the person behind me at Starbucks. We paid for groceries for people before. So I started doing these little things that chipped away at my money mindset. It also made me start feeling abundant, because when you give, even if you have 2 nickels, I want you to give one of those nickels away this week. Because when you do that, it sends the message to your subconscious that, like, hey, the more money I make, the more good I get to do in the world,
right.
The more I get to give back.
Right.
And that's really what money is about. Money is meant to be circulated. It's meant to be given. It's meant to be spent. And so it's just energy. Money is just, it's currency, it's energy. And so the more you flow it out, the more it will flow back in. But money manifestation is literally one of my main topics that I coach my clients on.
Nice. I gotta get a clap for that one right there. I gotta get a clap for that one. Let me get a clap for that one. Awesome. All right. Okay, listen, we got 2 more to go, right? All right. Has it stopped clapping yet? All right. Okay. All right, we got 2 more to go. All right. Like I said, I'm gonna say the best one for last. This one is called Falling Apart. Okay? Here we go. All right.
Yeah, the crumble, the quantum crumble, the infamous quantum crumble. So I think people, as they start to level up, or even people that are starting their recovery journey, right? They're like, I finally got clean. I'm doing things right. I'm taking all these steps. I'm working on myself. And then this shit hits the fan, right? Or like you're leveling up and you're thinking positive and you're doing all this inner work. And then it's like you lose your job. Your car gets hit in an accident, like your spouse leaves you, or your boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with you, right? It has to happen that way. It's meant to happen that way, actually, for lots of reasons. Like I just said, the biggest one is that no matter what, things that are not meant for you will always find a way to leave your life. And sometimes it's just like, as you're leveling up, as you're growing, as you're going into these new seasons, the things that you once were part of your old you, they don't align with your future you. And so they have to leave. Maybe you lost the job that you had and you're like, oh my God, that's my security. How am I going to pay my bills? Because a better job's actually right on the way to you. Or because you're meant to pursue that entrepreneur online business that you've been thinking about, right? Maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with you because you're going to meet your soulmate next week. But in the moment, when shit's falling apart, when everything feels like it's going wrong, it's easy to be like, oh my God, I'm failing, or I'm falling backwards, or things aren't working out. When actually the switch that has served me so well in my life is that life is never happening to you. It's always happening for you. And so in those seasons, in that turmoil, in that chaos, if you can embrace the fact that it's meant to be this way, because it's making space for what's actually meant for you, it will help you get through it. And another thing with that is that I feel like when you're going through times like that, it's easy to say like, why me, right? I'm failing. Why is this happening to me? Instead, if you look at that, it's lessons. Everything is a lesson that you need to grow through. And obstacles, turmoil, challenges, setbacks, they're all put in your path so that you actually become the person you need to become to get to the other side and achieve the dreams and goals that you want to in the first place.
Nice. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I felt that one. I really felt that one. Now this next segment. This is drop the mic segment. You know what I mean? Drop the mic. All right. This is the drop the mic segment.
Okay.
Now this is a very, very important part of life. And when I've seen this video, and I really hit home, because coming from where we came from and to be able to have this leverage and still do things in life, it's very important. It's like a teardropper. So when you guys see this video and you guys gonna understand why I say it's a teardropper, because if you really think about it, let me just go on with this. Let me go on. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Yeah, a couple times. Read that. All right. See that I say the best for last. When I say to say the best for last, because your husband's not here, and I want to know that he's still in my prayers, my
I
thoughts.
love it.
And I had to save him for this video because he is an important part of your life. He's an important part of all your family's life. So I didn't want to leave him out of it. So with that being said, can you explain on that?
Yeah. So, like I said, I got my master's degree after I went into recovery because I always wanted to help people. And so, the logical thing back then, because I didn't know what being an entrepreneur was, there was no entrepreneurs modeled to me. So,
Yeah.
it's like, go to college, get a degree. Psychology, that makes sense. So, I can help people, right? So, I got my degree, worked my way up, and then I found entrepreneurship 10 years ago. And my goal at that point was I wanted to be a mom to my kids so bad that I wasn't a mom because I was working like 15-hour days. And so I was like, I need to bring myself home. And so I brought myself, that was my first thing I did, is I brought myself home after about 18 months to pursue my online passion, my online business full time. And my husband was still working his corporate job that he absolutely hated, was absolutely miserable at his corporate job. And
Oh
he's a
man.
really good cook, chef, not by school, just really like that's his
It's
skill,
natural. It's natural, right?
natural talent.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
we used to be season ticket holders to the Seattle Seahawks. And
Boo! Go Bills! Go Bills!
we're from Seattle, okay? Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
Florida now, but
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we used to go to Seahawks games and we would be the tailgaters and he would cook. We had this Blackstone and he would make the meals for all these tailgaters and they were just like, "You're such a good cook," blah, blah, blah. And so I started making more and more and more money and he was like, "Man, it'd be really cool to own a food truck someday. That would just be really cool to own a food truck and I could just cook and that would be my passion." So the year I did like the best I had ever done was, I started this in 2014. And then my biggest year to date back then was 2020. I hit it big in 2020 where I went from making like 10K months to like 25K months. And I started socking a bunch of money in savings. And at the end of 2020, in November of 2021, I was like, I'm buying you a food truck in cash.
Yeah,
I'm just going
yeah,
to pay
yeah.
for it in cash. I'm going to buy you a food truck. And so I bought him his food truck. And so he started his food truck business, but he was so programmed as an employee and so thought he needed a secure, safe job and stable income that he would work his food truck on the weekends, and then he worked his corporate job all week long. So he's like dog tired, just like
Dog tired.
grinding it out, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
no days off. And the food truck started getting a little name for itself, doing pretty well. I'm like, you got to leave the freaking corporate job. Like, come on, take the leap, bro, take the leap. And so he did that
Yeah.
for a few months. And finally he was like, okay. And so then he finally quit his corporate job, went all in on the food truck. It actually ended up exploding. We actually now have scaled it. So he quit his corporate job. We've now scaled it to 3 food trucks across the country. He's now going to be on TV. He just got an email this morning to appear on a TV, the View Network,
Nice.
to do a live cooking segment for them because he's following his passion. He's following his talent. So now
That's
we're
right,
both
man.
completely free from the corporate world. We are full-time entrepreneurs. We both own businesses,
That's
and
right.
it's just we've created a pretty beautiful life.
Nice, nice, nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
This was a really pretty good podcast. I must admit. So
Awesome.
so listen. So obviously, people are probably going to ask where they can find you at, where they can locate. Because I'm not a manifest a professional. She is. Because when you say it's gonna later on, it's gonna have the lettering out, so it'll read it out to everyone. Can you say where they can reach you at?
Yeah. Okay. So on Facebook, I'm Megan Desart, just like it says on the screen, MEAGANDESART on Facebook. On TikTok, I am Meg. I believe oh God, let me look. I just changed it recently.
You know what's funny? I talked to a couple other entrepreneurs when I asked them about their information. They're like,
No,
they forget.
So I'm Meg slash manifest and business. My handle's manifest it with Meg on TikTok. And then on Instagram, it is the same, manifest it with Meg.
All right,
Yeah,
all
and I do
right.
have I do have a membership, a really low ticket. So I have some higher ticket offers, but I am all about giving people tiered offers so because I really want to help everyone. And so I want to make this affordable to people that want to get in for like, $79. So I have an offer for $79. We can come learn manifestation, learn how to change your energetics, shift your thinking, your mindset, your energy, your feelings, all of that. And then I have one-on-one coaching that's a little bit higher ticket. So I
I
really
just
do have multiple offers.
now that's I'm glad you brought that up because that was something I wanted to ask you, right? Um, you didn't get all this stuff that you've done for free. You had to go through some classes. You had to go through some stuff to get where you're at now, correct? So
Oh,
when
yeah.
people, because I hear people say, "Oh my God, if you want to look up, why it ain't free?" You had to go. You had to pay to get. You had to
I
pay to
have
get learn
invested
lessons. You invested
hundreds of, yeah,
thousands
I've
of
invested
dollars
hundreds of thousands of dollars
to
actually.
get where. Yeah,
One year
yeah.
I paid $25,000 for a coach. The next year I paid 15,000. So I've invested hundreds and hundreds, I mean hundreds of thousands
Yeah.
and hundreds of thousands of hours learning this stuff. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
do have tons of free value on my TikTok. Go absorb it. If you want one of my paid offers, reach out to me. I have stuff that's super affordable. I even have like a $77 course. So I have something for every budget.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, Megan, this is how we're gonna wrap this up, man. It's been a
Thank you so
blessing. I
much,
I
Joey. You're
appreciate you
so
coming.
awesome. I love what you're doing. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you so much, man. Listen, guys, I'm Joey Bags of Recovery. I'm the creator of Joey Bags of Recovery. If you guys can, subscribe. If not, hey, I appreciate it anyways. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Remember to pray.